the database. Using the HDB LCM tools, we will perform the HANA installation. Then after that, after the installation is created, there are the 7 core process will be created that we can see in the we can see it operating system level or during the installation time as well here, right? So here we can check what are the databases are up and running here, right? So if you check it out here HDB is there. So I think, yeah, HDB is currently active. So then you can open the HANA Studio to add the systems into the here, right? So here, switch to the your HID ADM. SID is the HDB, then HDB space info, then you can able to see the all the process which are active in the system here. So there is a one more index server, which means one more tenant database got created here, right? One more index server means one more tenant database got created here, right? So here you can just use the launch button. So then you can able to open the screen here. Here we need to connect to the, so we need to add the systems here. We know here, right? Just click on the button, add button. Then you can add the your systems into the here, your HANA systems into the here. So instance number 10. So right, why? Because this instance number is 10. This HDB. So during the installation time, we will give it here system DB. This is the system DB. Right, click on the next button, system, the password, whatever the password during the installation time you have given. So that password you have to give it here, right? So in case of the system is already exist, it's already exist, something like that, you will get it out, right? So then, then that time you will get it out, this thing here. We need to check where it is. Yeah, this is the one. Right? So it is created here as well here. Then there is a tenant also it is created. So you can just add the tenant as well here. Tenant as well as here you can open it here. Right? So whenever you double click, it will open the administration prompt. You will get it out here. Right? So see CPU utilization is very low minimum here. So memory also very less. So file system space levels also disk space disk usage also it's a very less here. So all the services are started. This is the overview page. Then we discussed about the landscape page, all the process related information and everything here, right? Then alerts tab. Here, the alerts tab. In case of any errors or any issues, it will be detected here. It will be detected here. So, as part of the monitoring, you need to come here and you need to see something is happens here. Automatically, the error will be detected here. See here, what is the high priority? Suppose this error you have to receive to your email ID, then you need to click on the configure, then add the your SMTP sender email address, SMTP server, then your recipient's email address, where you should receive the emails, where you receive the emails, that email address you have to fill it out, then you will able to receive the emails from SAP HANA database here. Emails frame, in case of any error, that errors you will receive it here, right? So sender email address and SMTP server. SMTP server means your mailbox server that you will receive from your IT team or internal teams, you will get it out. Then modify the recipients. Recipients means your group address, distribution list, individual address. We can add it to the here so that you will able to receive the, as soon as any error generated, then you will be able to receive the so email to the your Outlook mailbox. Okay, that you can able to receive it here. That's what the alerts tab will tell you. So landscape tab, the all the landscape related information. In the landscape, you have the some services, right? So that services related information will be displayed here. What is the CPU, memory, each and every, and was the last restart happened, all the information will be displayed here as well, right? So that is the main thing. Suppose, as I mentioned here, each process, compilation of the programs, index server and name server, preprocessor, web dispatcher, and access engine. Each process they have own things here, own responsibilities. Suppose if I cancel, if I kill the, it won't happen. Why? Because what you have to do, everything should be managed from the system DB. System DB, we have to do that one here, right? Suppose what I'm going to do now, I'm going to restart the, so here alerts tab, where we have only one alert is there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to kill the web dispatcher here, right? I'm going to kill the web dispatcher here. So it is down. So it's saying that some services are not started here. Automatically, what will happen? Daemon will go and will start the service here. See, automatically the service also started. How it got started? So Daemon started here, right? So it stopped and again it started. You can see the timings. 8:39, 8:39. So it started here, right? It started. So as per the system time, it started here automatically. So here daemon will start the, if any process is stopped status or faulty status, the daemon will go and start the remaining process in the system automatically here. Automatically it will start it here. That's what it will happen. See, one more alert got generated. What is that? Web dispatcher was restarted on this host. At what time? This is the one. Which means it tells you clearly web dispatcher got restarted. So which means you got the one alert. Earlier we don't have 1 minute back or 2 minutes back. We don't have this alert. Now we got the alert. It says that web dispatcher got restarted. Yes, we have done it. That's why the alert got generated immediately. So this alert stop will tell you what are the issues we have, what's happening in the systems, in the symptoms will be displayed in the form of alerts tab, in the form of alerts here. Okay, in the form of alerts, this will be displayed here, right? So this is the alerts tabs which we have in the systems here. Okay. Next one is the performance tab. So this is our kind of a importance tab, performance related issues. Performance related issues will be, we can identify here, the performance things here. In the performance tab, whenever you log into the system, normally this tab is used to check the who are the users are logged into the your HANA system, HANA connected, how they connected, how many sessions they have opened, what they are doing, how much duration, what are the data they are trying to use it. All the information will be displayed here. So whenever the user login in the sessions tab, that user related information will be displayed. So okay, the particular person is logged in today, he is running something, right? Yes, one session is opened. From where? HANA Studio. From Studio he connected through Studio. From Studio he connected. Yes, Studio application. Then application source. This is the one. Like which user he connected, which user is using administrator. Application side, DB side, which user is using. What is the IP address? This one. What is the current statement he is executing, right? How many number of queries is fetched, records are fetched, what is the duration. So all the information will be displayed here in the sessions section. Number of users will log in, number of sessions will be created here. One user, one session will be created here. If once the user is login, he is not only do one session, right? He will open the multiple tabs and multiple things here. So then for each session, there the multiple threads will be opened. Means which user, there the multiple threads will be opened. This multiple threads we will perform the multiple activities here. Suppose if I am see, I logged in as a administrator user with the system user. So there are the multiple activities I am doing here. Like one is session tab, something here. I am doing something. I am clicking here. I'm checking responding. Everything here. The in the threads, each and every time the threads will be performed. Threads will be occupied here. Threads will be occupied here. Threads will be running status here. Right? That's what here we can see it in the systems here. Means each user one session, that session will open the multiple activities. Multiple activities means multiple threads will be performed here. That we can see it here. How many users, what they are doing here, what is the database user, what is the application user is doing. In case you are your user details will be displayed. In case of you be connected here, your user details will be displayed and system user. And if any blocked transactions, If any transaction is blocked here, the transactions will be deadlocks. Deadlocks will be displayed here. SQL plan cache. SQL plan cache means, so here the frequently accessed SQL statements. So in the system database level, if any request you are setting, if you anything you are working, that will create as a one SQL statement. In the form of SQL statement, the records will be fetched. That related things we can see it here. What are the most frequently SQL statements are used here? Who used it here? So all the information will be recorded here. All the information will be recorded in the SQL plan cache, right? So the next one is the expensive statements. Expensive statement means long running. Expensive means long running statements. Sometimes why? Because in the database level, data will be fetched or data will be inserted from applications by applications in the form of SQL statements only. That related SQL statements we can see it here, right? So what they are doing, we can see the sessions and threads, right? So suppose something is running from longer time, you want to take the trace, you want to take the thread tracing. Tracing means you want to find out. Then trace we can enable it here. Trace configuration we can perform it here. So if any internal jobs, anything load, that we can see it here, the load column. How is the load of the database? How is the performance of the database here? Only CPU. Then what about the database, resident memory, total memory? What is the disks used here? Disk used size, disk size, database allocations. So network traffic, how it is the network traffic. So everything we can find out here. Everything we can find out, everything in the load column. Some graphs, live analysis, we can perform it here. Some analysis we can perform it in the scale. We can export it to the, and we can import, we can maybe some kind of analysis we can perform it. See, here everything is fine. It is here at almost 7:30. This line is very high. What is this line is very high? So this is very high. CPU utilization is very high here. This line is CPU utilization. So CPU utilization is very high here. Something is happened in this location, in this here. Right? So like that, we can see where is the performance issues in the systems. Like that, we can find out here in the systems. Right? Last.
Suppose any deadlock happen, any long running process is there, then we have to go to the block transaction, right? And then
We can cancel it. If any deadlocks are there, right click and we can cancel it. Sometimes deadlocks we cannot cancel it. That time we need to restart the database.
okay, and from system DB or tenant DB we need to clear that.
This tenant DB only. Transactions will happen in the tenant database only, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Then tenant database only we have to do that one.
Okay, okay.
Because system DB there is no data, there is no SQL data,
Correct.
no value. Why? Because
Mhm.
no one will connect to the tenant DB system DB here, only tenant database. Why? Because index server is available here itself only. Index server is available in the so tenant only. So that's the reason.
Okay.
So this is the performance related thing here. So this is one of the important tab here. In case of your HANA database is slow, something is happened with the HANA database, something is going to happen, very slowness means the first thing you need to check the what are the sessions, how many sessions are opened here, what are the threads are opened here. So in the threads, so what are the users are opened here, what is the most frequently duration means, which duration means the guy which is using from the duration of the session we can find out from here. So then we can rectify it here. There is a session, one session is blocked here, there is a one blocked transaction here, there is a one session is one thread is blocked here. So we need to check what is the blocked thread here. I think this is the, I think, blocked thread here. So then we can see what's happening here, what is doing here. So then the records counts and everything we can find out here, right? Job progress is internal jobs, internal DB related jobs. If anything, it will be displayed. Otherwise, this will be empty only. So performance tab is very important tab here. Okay. Volumes. Volumes means your data volume, log volume sizes here. Data volume slash and data slash and log volumes here. So how the file system spaces we have here, data volume. All the data, all the changed data, committed data will sit into the at the file system level slash and data. The transaction logs will sit inside of this folder slash and log folder here. Something happens with these file systems, then your HANA database will not function properly. Even though HANA is storing the data inside of the memory only, but one copy of data will store into the in the data and log folder. Why? Because the RAM is a volatile memory, so which means it's not the permanent memory RAM. So only temporary storage area only here. When the HANA is restarted, something is happened. All the data, whatever data is there in the RAM memory, that will be flushed out. Flushed out means the data will be deleted from the main memory here. That we have seen yesterday, right? So stopping the HANA database, all the data is gone, memory is free. Whenever you start the HANA database, again the data will be reloaded. So that concepts, right? So here volumes tab means what is the storage, what is the total size, what is the used one, what is the availability. Just check the free space of the your data drives here, slash na data, slash na log here. Those and IO statistics here, we can check it out here. So that thing we can see it here. Otherwise, if you go to the overview section, here also we can check it out in the disk usage, data volume size, log volume size. Here also we can check it out. Just checking the file system size. So if anything is below or used size also near to the total size means disk usage is very less here, right? So then very less GB. Then we have to plan to the uplift the so this file systems to the higher level. We have to uplift it here. That's what we have to check it out here. Okay, so this is a volumes means disk. Normally in the Linux level we will call it as the volumes. In the Windows level we will call it as the disk. C drive, D drive, E drive. So how we will call it as the drive. So but in the Linux level the same concept we will call it as the disk format. Disk. Okay, so then the next one, configuration tab. So this is also some kind of important tab, configurations. So in the SAP level, example SAP level, if you want to do the some changes about the, suppose you want to do the some parameter changes, increase the work process, decrease the work process, something you want to do it. So buffer parameter changes, system configuration, if you want to change it, you will go to the RG10 and RG11 transaction codes. You will do the SAP related things. Same as like HANA level, if you want to do the some parameter settings, some configurations, if you want to change it, you need to do it from the configuration. Here we have the INA files are available, configuration INA files are available. From here, we have to do the configuration. We have to do the changes here. Here, we have to perform the changes in the system here, right? So suppose some timeout parameter you want to change it. Then you need to check which timeout, index server timeout or script server or name server, access engine, or suppose like in the system DB, you want to change the, so system DB, we have that, you have to change the name server, preprocessor. So there is a INI files are there, INI files. These files we have to change it, values we have to change it here. If you just change the values, this so if you want to change the backups, authorization, caches, related things here. So main memory related parameters, if we want to change it here, we can change it here. Here we can change the values here, right? So the values you can change it here. So some of the most important parameters, parameter changes in the HANA database means configuration tab only. They will provide the list of parameters and they have to change it, that you can change it here. Otherwise, no need to touch this tab here. So in case of any maintenance activities, you want to do the some memory parameters adjustments or anything, that time you have to do the some changes here. Suppose example, some of the important parameters most frequently asked in the interview point of time here, HANA memory parameters here, memory parameters here. How can we restrict the memory allocations to the HANA process here, restrictions? So you have the 1 terabyte data, HANA will use the 1 terabyte data, 1 terabyte memory. So now I don't want to use the 1 terabyte memory, then I want to restrict, I want to do the restrictions. In that case, you can set the memory allocation limit, global allocation limit, global allocation limit. So you can set it out here, global. So the allocation limit you can set here, global allocation limit you can set to the, so your, so global allocation limit you can set it out to the desired value here, right? So here, suppose example, HANA database memory manager, suppose there is a global allocation limit set to the 0, which means it will use the 100% memory here. Then you can suppose like currently what is the memory setting for here? So 32, 28 GB is assigned here. Total content memory is assigned. There is no restrictions here. So now I want to assign only 20 GB, 20 GB, then 20 into 1024. If you assign it to the here, then click on the save button here, then you have assigned 20 GB. So 19 plus GB it will come. So then when you go to the here, so now just to refresh, the value will be changed here. The value will be changed here. See, the value will be changed here, which means HANA will use only this 20 GB only, will not use more than that. Means you are doing the restrictions. You are keeping the restrictions in mind here. You keeping the restrictions here. For the HANA database, you are keeping the restrictions here so that it won't use much. So means restrictions. How you do the restrictions means this parameter value done the restrictions here. The parameter value performed the restrictions here, right? So which means, so this will not use the much memory. Much memory it won't use it here. Only some certain level it will use it here, right? So that is the total 32 GB. In that 20 GB you assign it to this database, and remaining you can assign to another database. Like that you can segregate it here. Only restriction parameters. Same as like, so the allocation limits, statement memory limits, statement memory limit. In the SAP, sorry, in the HANA database level, each and everything will execute as a SQL statement. So that SQL statement limits, we can set it out here, -1. So then, so if you set only one statement will use only 2 GB of main memory, then you can use the 2 GB, then the 2 GB will be used here. Means every SQL statement will use only 2 GB here. Sir, if you know some parameters, that's why we set it out here. Sir, I don't know the parameter name, then what? In this list, how can I find out my parameter value here? There is a filter condition here. Just if you type something here, I know only some timeout. Then if you timeout here, then timeout related all the parameters will be set it here. Right? Timeout related parameters will be set here. Right? So if any changes, HANA related things, you have to change it in this place only. Right? Configuration tab, you have to do the changes here. In the configuration tab, you have to perform these changes. Okay. So idle, connection timeout, lock manager, anything you want to, if you know the exact parameter, you can select it, you can do the changes here. If you don't know, then you can type, if you know only one word, then you can type it here, you can check it out. So parameter changes, that controlling of the tenant databases. So controlling means the parameter change. By changing the parameters, you can control the tenant database. Means usage of the memory and everything. That you have to do it from the system DB only. You cannot do it from the tenant database. Why? Because tenants you are not directly allowed. Tenant it will store the data. What is the use of the system DB means? System DB will manage the tenant database. System DB will do the administration part of the tenants. Manage controlling will be done by the system DB only. That will be performed here, right? That's what we have to do it in the system DB section here, right? That is what we can see it here in this case. So configuration tab. So configuration tabs. So mainly for the parameter changes. Rare cases we will go and we will change it here. So some until unless as part of the issue troubleshooting, your SAP team recommended to change the some parameters means, then you can put the parameter name and you can change the value. You can put the parameter name global underscore allocation underscore some limit parameter, you can put it out, you will get thing here, then you can do the some changes in this case here, you can do the some changes in this case here, right? So that the value will be changed here. Sir, is it restart required or not? So memory parameters, it does not require any restart. Then which parameters it's required the restart? Why? Because SAP level, when you do the changes in the RG10, we have to do the restart for remaining. So sometimes we don't require the restart. But here also some parameters it's required the restart. Some parameters we don't require the restart. Then how can I know, sir, which parameter is required? There the lakhs of parameters are there, and how can I remember means you don't need to remember it. But there is a simple way. There is a help.com here, sap.help.com. There, SAP HANA, there is a parameters. The parameter changes. So there is a one help.com from SAPS configuration parameters. So here, so not here. If you just enter the parameter name, so automatically that will be display the that is required, restart is required or not. It will provide the details here. Now auto check. So there is a restart is yes, we have to do the restart. If the restart is no, we no need to do the restarts here. Anam, this is the one. This is the link here. Okay. So this is the link here. So suppose you need to suppose there is a one parameter here. Suppose like here. So global allocation limit. You set this parameter, but you are not sure whether restart is required or not. Then if you open this parameter here, if the restart is required equals to false, then you no need to restart it. Automatically, it will use the entire memory. If the restart required equals to true, then definitely you need to restart the system. Suppose example, so this parameter, if you change that one, you need to do the restart. Then only the value will be affected. So that is the main thing here. If the restart required is true, then definitely you need to do the restart. Whatever the parameter you are trying to change it, then just check here in the section here in this section, you will come to know the all the information here. Parameter section, you will come to know if you put this parameter name here, if the restart is required, yes, fine. You need to do the restart. Not required, false, then you don't need to. This way, we can find out the for which parameters we have to do. So it's not easy to remember all the parameters, but simple way to check in this help.sap.com. Here we can find out whether restart is required or not. Okay, that is the main thing here. Okay. So that is the volumes tab and the configurations tab. Here we will do the changes in the systems here. Right? Configuration of the your so HANA parameters here. So some of the memory parameters, some timeout parameters, idle timeout parameters means which frequently we will change it. We know we can go to the system DB and so it's a global.ini and what parameters you changed remains. You can tell like this memory parameters I have changed recently in the memory manager, the allocation parameters and statement memory limit and the global allocation limits. Something we changed it as part of the memory issues here. Some of the performance issues we may get it out. Why? Because here unlimited memory is configured. Unlimited means it will use the how much RAM you have, that much of RAM memory it will use by the HANA database. You want to do the restrictions, right? That time we can use the so we can put the this restrictions and everything we can put it out here. Can restrictions we can put from here. That's what we can do that one in the systems here. Okay, that is what we can do it here. Okay, so that is the That is the one thing here. Memory restrictions parameters. So same as like any parameters, if you know, we can do the changes here. Some sessions idle timeout, session idle timeout 0. So here some side session idle timeout 0. Session idle timeout means here in the performance tab. So there are the some sessions here. There are the some sessions, even though they are in the idle time. Idle means which are not active. Which are not active also it's showing here. So if you set this parameter, what is saying 0? If you set this parameter to the suppose like 60 minutes, in case of session is 60 minutes is inactive, automatically the sessions will be disconnected from the systems. That is what you set it out here. Then immediately all the sessions will be disconnected from the systems here. All the threads which are not active, sessions which are inactive status here. So some sessions are reduced here. See, so it will be reduced here. Why? Because you configured the some parameter here, session timeout parameter. Like that, multiple things we can do it here. In the session timeout parameters, we can do the multiple things here. So in the configuration tab, so to control entire HANA database will be controlled by the this INA files. So if you change these values in the INA files, so database will act as accordingly. Whatever the value is there, database will act it. Okay. This is the same as like in SAP, the profiles, how we do the parameter changes. Here INA files will do the changes of the parameters and everything. Okay. Then the next one, system configurations. System configuration means here, suppose system configuration parameters here. In case of if you want to do the some changes, like no, not system information means some predefined SQL statement. These are the predefined information. Suppose something you need to know how many connections are there in the system means you need to go to the landscape tab or performance tab. You check the how many connections, how many sessions are opened. You will check it out. But if you go to the system information, right click and execute, automatically the list of information will be showed. Then you can save as a text file or a HTML file. You can inform to the your manager. Take the screenshot and you can inform to the your manager. Suppose your manager asked you to provide the size of the tables in the disk. What is the size? Table names and their size. What is the table name and size? Table name and size. So you see the table names and size you can find out from here. What are the tables are there and what is the schema and what is the size it is occupied here. You got the data, right? Suppose your manager asked memory used by the tables. How much RAM memory it is used? So 89988 MB. Okay. How many number of row tables? 22 here, right? Suppose your manager asked to find out the number of caches block, if any blocked transactions in the system, you will find out, right? It's kind of a predefined system information in your system. If you need some information by using this one, we can find out the some related data and some history information you can find out from here, right? This will tell you the some information about the your system. Okay, so this just nothing useful, but only thing is to know the some details from your system, connection statistics, connections, DB size, workload, open transactions, how many open transactions you have in your system, then it will provide the some data, right? So that is the system information tabs here, system information here. Okay, system information here. So just know the some details from the your databases. You can use this whatever the things are there here. You can use these things. You can get the data from system. Okay, that is the one. So diagnostic files, log files. A diagnostic file means log files here. Which means so in your database, same SAP level work directory, how we have same as like SAP level means we have the dialog, update, and queue, dispatcher, how we will check the log files, right? We will check the log files in the trace in the work directory. There we can find out the some information. Same as like here, index server, name server, p processor. So all the process are there. Then how the this process are behaving, how this process are running, all the information we can check in the diagnostic file, diagnosis files. If you open the index server trace file here, you will come to know the what is happening in the index server here, what you have changed in the system here, what changes have been done in the systems here, what application user, what is the, so all the information will be displayed here. All the installation is done, full tables, reloading options, all the things you have, some information you have here, some information you have in the systems here. That's what we can do it here. Right? See, number of remaining indexes. So some logs related information will be displayed here. Failure to collect the timestamp access engine. So there is some logs will be displayed in the systems here. Logs will be displayed in the systems here. Right? That is the, so diagnostic files. We can download the log file, and OS level also we can see. But studio level, that is available index server log. Sir, here I can see only index server access engine only. What about the other? Daemon, name server, preprocessor, compile server logs files. That will be available in the system DB. If you go to the system DB diagnostic files, there it is available, the name server, daemon, web dispatchers, then all the log files are available here based upon the your master modified. There we can find out the some information here, name server, what is, how the name server is behaving here, right? How the name server is behaving here, which user you connected. So username, system user, application user is the administrator. I logged in with the administrator user. So what I have done it, something, everything will be recorded here. Everything will be recorded with the timestamp. Everything will be recorded here. What you are doing to do, what you are doing, something, everything will be recorded in these systems here. Everything will be recorded here. So something like basis user, unknown trace traffic. So something like, so each and everything will be recorded in this case here. You see, each and everything will be recorded in the system. These log files will help us to identify the issues. Okay. These log files will help us to identify the issues, root cause the issues, and finding out the what is happening in the database level. So all the information will be displayed here. Right. This way we can find out the, because tomorrow if you raise the ticket with the SAP for the troubleshooting the HANA issues, they will ask these log files. Then you need to provide these log files to the SAP. Download the log file and you can have to provide to SAP. Then SAP will investigate it. What is happening in the exact the timelines here. Exact at 8:30, what happened in the system. So there is a user, something is happened. So these are the things are happened in the system. So based upon the timestamp, based upon the some other logs, we can find out the what is happening in the system, and all the information we can find out here. Okay. So that is the one thing here we can check. So that is called the so diagnostic files, diagnosis files. Sometimes they may ask you to merge all the diagnosis files and then send to them. Then last 24 hours or last one day, last minute, last 20 minutes, our log files we can collect it, we can send to them. So they will ask you to collect the log files, then last 24 hours or last 2 days, 3 days, then we have to collect it and we have to send the log files to them. Okay. So that investigation purpose. Why? Because each and everything will be recorded in the diagnostic files, right? That where we can find out here diagnosis, right? Here. So here trace configuration. Sometimes what happens, by default the trace will be collected, but those logs are not enough to troubleshoot the data. Then in that case SAP will ask you to collect the some more traces here, collect the some more traces here. In that case you need to enable the database trace is enabled. Suppose some user specific trace, some performance trace. Suppose like one of the user system having some issues, then you can collect the performance trace here. The trace will be collected, you can active. Then so some expensive treatment trace, end-to-end trace, user specific trace, so plan trace. So there are traces we can collect it, so that the traces will be collected here. So the traces will be collected in the systems here. Traces will be collected in the systems here. See, performance trace is collecting. Performance trace is collecting in the systems. So which will generate the log files here itself only. Then again, you can see log files are profile performance trace is collected. So then we see here some log files are generated here. This is generating the some log files here, right? So just you can send this log file to SAP. SAP will do the analysis what's happening in the system. So means existing logs are not much enough, then you can collect the traces here. In the trace configuration, you can activate the trace. So then you can deactivate the trace so that you can activate and you can deactivate the trace. You can collect the logs and you can inform to the SAP to investigate the issues. Okay, that's what we have to do it here. Right? User specific trace, performance trace, kernel trace, expensive statement trace. Okay, default trace. This is what we have to do it. In case of they asked you to collect the more traces, this is the place where you need to collect the more traces here. Suppose user trace. So daily one of the user is logging. So daily one of the user trace. So user is logging, then he is doing something. Username is the Ravi user. Suppose like Ravi. So he because of this user entire Ravi user and Ravi user is only logging. Then you want to collect the traces. Then you can collect the traces here. User trace is configured, then all the logs will be generated. Whatever the user log into the Ravi user, then whatever he is doing, everything will be collected. Every log file will be collected. Whatever he is doing, signing in after sign out, before in between, whatever he is doing, everything will be collected here. So that will be recorded. Then we can investigate it, what he is doing and what queries, what example, what is touched in the system. Then each and everything will be recorded in the system now. So these kind of things we can perform it in the trace configuration. Tracing configurations here. So it's not only one multiple users, multiple traces, end-to-end traces. So multiple things we can do it here. By default, logs will be collected. Sometimes for the investigation purpose, these log files are not much enough. So that time we need to activate the traces so that it will collect the more logs. So these logs can be helpful to investigate or find out the root cause. Okay, this is the HANA Studio tabs here. Okay, got it?
Maybe, yeah, Ravi. This trace configuration we are going to be execute after the issue appeared, right? That means we want to reproduce the issue.
Yeah, we have to activate it. Then we can ask user to reproduce the issue. Then the
Yeah.
logs will
Okay.
be collected. Then we can switch off the trace. Then we can provide the log files, or if you want to, you can do the investigation as well.
Okay. So, and one more question, like when you go back to this diagnosis files, how long we are going to be keep these traces in the system? Do we have something like a housekeeping
We
similar
have to set
to?
it out that housekeeping jobs, maybe cleaners,
Uh,
some other things. We can, by default, it won't delete any log files. But if you set some housekeeping jobs, it will delete it. In the latest versions, SAP introduced some cleaner jobs, HANA cleaner. Normally in HANA cleaner jobs, SAP implemented here trace cleaners. So that if you enable, this will be enabled, it will clean up. Detention period is the 100 days and the quota. So if you set these things here, so it will do the cleanup, cross dumps, RT dumps, alerts, all the log files will be cleaned up. If you enter the some more filters here, so it will do the some cleanups here. If you add the some parameters like filter, if you add the parameters filter, the value is like a so something star dot old files you want to delete. One is fine actually. Oh, so yeah, we can enter the fields so that it will delete the something from here. So there is a recent version. Previously, earlier, we have to run the some scripts at operating system level to do the cleanups of these log files and everything. But in the recent versions, SAP introduced the trace cleaner, which means it will do the some cleanup. If you set the parameters, so if you set the parameters to the true, then I set that true, then it will do the all the cleanup here. So it will do the all the cleanups will be performed here. So whatever the cleanup, trace dump, RT dump, alerts, then what are the log files we have? Suppose like this is fine. Some other in case of any other log files, so that will do the cleanups.
This
Yes,
is
that
also
is
can be set to backups, right? Like a log backup after two
yeah,
log
the
backups, we
backups. Yeah,
can.
backups also available. So there is a yes, that is also we can do that one.
Okay. So these log files are stored under the
File
log
system level.
volumes.
Yeah, file system level. This will be stored at file system level only. But in the studio level, we can view the log files. We can download it. In the file system level, these log files will be there. So this is the next topic. We will discuss. Here you can see the name server log files, daemon, whatever the log files are here. So whatever the log files are here in the diagnostic files, name server, all will be here as well here. You can see it here as well. OS level.
Okay.
Sir, if HANA is down, then how can I access the studio? Then how can I check the investigated log files? Means operating system level. OS level, this folder we have to go. So there is a session operating system level. That time I can explain this about this folder as well. Okay. Any questions, anyone?
Ravin, can you just explain a bit more about that trace cleaner?
Trace cleaner. So trace cleaner, it's not available in the old version. In SPS 0708 is only this options SAP introduced it here. Trace cleaner means which are older than 10 days, 100 days, 200 days, that will do the some cleanups here. So trace cleaner options. If you enable these options, system will perform the cleanups in the system. Cleanups means suppose these log files are the old dated. So all are today fine. But some log files are I think it's deleted. I think some log file, these all are the today's dated. Fine. So some log files are the fourth 1 year back, 2 years back dated files are there. That time. So that time, so it will be occupied the some file system space and you will get the file system full issues and everything. Then in that case, if you configure the some tracing information, trace cleaner information here, so that whatever the filter, whatever the trace files you want to delete it, if you configure it, that will delete that kind of traces here. So otherwise, normally in my organizations, I have written the one script here. My script, what this script will do daily, it will check which are older than 60 days or 90 days log file. So it will delete those log files. So that is also we can perform it. If you have the scripting knowledge, that we can do that one. Or anyhow, SAP is also providing, right? So they can enable this one and we can also use these functionalities. Which means some of the old log files which are not required unnecessarily to occupy in the some amount of space, bytes, MBs, GBs, it is occupied, which will occupy the file system space and everything, right? It does not require these things, right? We can remove it, unnecessarily things, which will do the cleanup. It kind of a cleanups, house cleanups.
Okay. And at the last, there is trace configuration, right? So through SAP, we can also do the trace configuration.
Yeah, SAP ST01, ST05, there also we can do the trace
Yeah,
configuration.
so this one and which one we do through SAP, both are same.
No, SAP, that is a different and this is the different.
Okay.
SAP level, what tables, what it is reading and everything. This is like a database level trace, performance trace. So
Okay.
you want to find out whether your issue is coming from the database level or SAP level. That SAP trace will tell you the SAP level related details. This database trace, DB level information will tell you.
Okay.
So, but finally, both the traces can help you to figure it out where is the issue.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So that is it. Tomorrow, you can just practice it today, tomorrow, day after